Namaste बिटिया हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया. A very good morning to you all. Myself, JB and Dr. Ravi Jain, Assistant Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine, and Faculty of Homeopathic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. In today's lecture, we are going to continue from the previous lecture. In the previous lecture, we have this is a series of assessment of primatological disorders that is to be completed in 3 steps. The first one was that we discussed in the last lecture, the screening for the locomotor abnormality and disability. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the general physical examination. And in the third step, tomorrow, we will be discussing about the examination of joints, including the individual joint. So, the first point we have already covered, that is screening for the locomotor abnormality and disability. So let's start with the second point in this series, that is general physical examination. Let's start with the general physical examination. The examination begins with the observation of the patient when he or she is entering the room. So as soon as the patient enters the room, the observation of the physician begins. What is the aim of the examination? The aim of the examination is to identify the site and type of pathology. So we have to identify for the site and the type of pathology that is involved. We have to assess the loss of functions by examining the range of movements and specific functions. So we have to assess for the loss of functions by examining the range of movements and specific functions. And the third one is to identify the associated complications. So we have to check for the associated complications in the patient, if any. The general observation includes the gait. We have to check for the gait. We have to check for the posture. We have to also look for the mobility, deformity, and muscle wasting. I will again repeat it. We have to check for the gait, posture, mobility, the deformity, the muscle wasting. We have to also check for the long bones, any kind of fractures if present. We also have to look for the joints, tendons, and skin. So there are a lot of things that we need to have into consideration: gait, posture, mobility, deformity, muscle wasting, long bones, fracture, joints, tendons, and skin. So let's discuss them one by one. Now, what is gait? Gait is can be abnormal due to musculoskeletal disorder. Gait is what? Gait is the pattern of walking of any individual. So it can be divided into two parts. The painful gait, that is known as antalgic or painless gait. The second one is the painless gait. So painful gait, that is antalgic gait, and the painless gait. There are other gaits also, like there can be Trendelenburg's gait and Wedling gait. All these gaits I will explain to you in the clinical class when we are doing the clinical, because it is not possible to explain in this video lecture how it is done. So apart from these gaits, we have to check for examination of the examination of the eyes, skin, mucous membrane, hair, nails, and fingers. All these things have to be kept into consideration. Then we have to do the examination for the joints and bones. The bones and joints need to be examined. We have to do the examination of the joints from head to toe. The pattern has to be kept from head to toe manner. We have to compare the corresponding joints on the two sides of the body. So both sides of the body need to be examined, whether affected or not. We have to be careful not to cause any discomfort to the patient during examination. So we need to keep into mind that the patient is not getting affected in any kind. Now, what are the different steps of examinations? The steps of examination includes the inspection of the joints. Means we are looking at the joint of the patient. We have to do the palpation of the bony landmarks and soft tissue structures. That is, we have to feel and palpate the joint. We need to do the assessment of the range of motion or the direction of the joint movement. That is, we have to move the joint. And third is we have to do the special maneuvers to test for the joint functions. Now, first of all, in this we have to do the inspection at 2 times. We have to inspect the joint at rest and we have to inspect the joint during motion. So inspection at rest, it consists of, we have to check for the symmetry of involvement. We have to check for the symmetry of involvement of the joint. That is, whether it is monoarthritis, single joint involvement, and it indicates the history of any kind of trauma, the sepsis, tuberculosis, or gout. If there is symmetrical involvement of the joint, it indicates rheumatoid arthritis. And if there is any kind of asymmetrical involvement of the joint is seen, and asymmetrical involvement of the joint is seen in the cases of reactive arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, Peters syndrome, and ankylosing spondylitis. We have to inspect for any kind of swelling. Then in the swelling, we have to note for any kind of swelling in the joints or periarticular tissues. We have to check for the joint swelling that indicates synovitis, and periarticular swelling may be due to tendinitis, bursitis, or muscle tear. These are the probable cause that can cause the swelling in the joints. During the inspection at rest, we have to note for any kind of deformity or malignancy in the bones. We have to check for any kind of alterations in the shape or outline or the shortening of the bone. We also have to look for the muscle wasting, and we have to note for the positions or postures of the limbs. Also note for any kind of redness or erythema of the overlying skin. We have to look for the redness or erythema of the overlying skin. Now we have to do the inspection for the range of motion. With the range of motion, with the movement, we have to do the inspection. During the inspection, we have to note for any kind of limitations in the range of motion or increased mobility. So we have to check for the range of motion, how much motion can be done, and we have to check for any increased mobility or restricted mobility. So if there is increased mobility, or the joint is stable from excessive mobility, or there are decreased range of movements that are occurring in the arthritis, inflammation, or the periarticular tissues, we have to check for the fibrosis and around the joint, and any kind of bony ankylosis. So decreased range of movements that can be due to arthritis, inflammation, periarticular tissue, fibrosis, or around the joint or bony ankylosis. We have to also check for the restriction of movements in one plane or one direction that indicate periarticular lesions, while restriction of all the movements indicate joint problem. So we have three things: increased movement, decreased movement, and restricted movements that we have to check for. Now we have to palpate. Do the palpation, we have to feel and move the joint. While palpation, we have to look for various things, like palpate for the signs of inflammation of the joints. You all know the signs of inflammation. For those signs of inflammation, we have to do the palpation. We have to check for the swelling. If there is any kind of swelling or tenderness over the tendon sheath or bursa, that indicates tendinitis or bursitis. We have to check for the warmth. The warmth indicates arthritis, tendinitis, bursitis, and osteomyelitis. And also we have to look for the tenderness. The tenderness is graded from 1 to 4. You can see the details in the book Clinical Medical Medicine by Dr. S.N. Chugh, that you have to see for the details of these points. And otherwise also we are going to discuss all these things in the clinical class when we are going into college. So grade 4 tenderness is occurs in the septic arthritis, crystal arthritis, and rheumatic arthritis. Then we have to, in the palpation, we have to do the measurement of the range of movements. We have to check for any kind of limitations of the movements in the joint. So the limitation of the movement in joint can be due to the pain, it can be due to the muscle spasm, or can be due to inflammation. There's increased thickness of the capsule. It can be due to the fibrous ankylosis, the contractures. It can be due to the effusions into the joints. The bony overgrowth can be the cause, bony ankylosis, and mechanical factors can be responsible for the limitation of the movements of particular joint. So this was all about the second point that we discussed today, the general physical examination. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about the third point, the examination of individual joint. This will be done in the next lecture. So in this series, we are going to discuss, as I have already told, the assessment of rheumatological disorders, that we are going to cover in 3 points. Screening for the locomotor abnormality and disability, already discussed in the last lecture. The general physical examination discussed today. And in the next lecture, we are going to examine the individual joint, the process how the individual joint is assessed. That will be learned. So this session was powered by Digital Version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I'll try to resolve it. So this was all for today. Thank you very much. We will be meeting in the next lecture tomorrow.